Good morning, everyone. I welcome you in this another session of the control system. Today, we are going to discuss about the new topic that is the time domain analysis for the first order system, in which we will be discussing about the feedbacks and how to do the analysis in the time domain for first order system. So, we'll be discussing about the various topics in this. So, first of all, what is a first order system? A first order system is the one which is having only one pole. Now look at this. In this, we can clearly see that the transfer function is equal to k upon 1 plus ts or st. That means how many number of poles do we have at the denominator, that is equal to 1. That decides the order of the system. So if we are having the two poles, that will be termed as a second order, and if we are having the higher order number of terms or the poles, that will be termed as that nth order of the system. Now in this equation, the k is your DC gain and t is the time constant of the system. Where the time constant is what? It is a measure of how quickly a first order system responds to an unit step input. That means when we apply the unit step input, that is Rs is equal to 1 by S, then in that case, how quickly that response is been obtained. Okay, how quickly, within how much time period, the response is been obtained. For a better performance, it has been estimated the time constant would be better for a 5t, in which the minimum error will be obtained. Okay. The next is the DC gain of the system is the ratio between the input signals and the steady state value of the output. For a first order system given below, let's take an example. GS is equal to 10 upon 3s plus 1. So how many number of poles are there? That we are having only one pole. That's why it is a first order system. And the DC gain is given as 10, and the time constant is equal to 1 is 3 seconds. And for a following system, the GS is equal to 3 upon S plus 5. In this case, the DC gain will be 3 upon 5. The reason is that we have to first of all convert this given equation or the transfer function or the any kind of a system into a standard one. The standard one is in the form of k upon ts plus 1. So first of all, we are converting it into ts, where t is been obtained at the time constant is been obtained by 1 by 5, and the DC gain will be obtained as 3 by 5. Now there are different types of responses which can be seen in a control system. So with the different inputs, we will be getting a different type of outputs. And there are some standard inputs for the evaluation of a performance or the analysis of the system. One of the input is the unit step input. The another is the impulse input. So what is an impulse input? First of all, let's discuss this thing. Impulse input is the one in which you are getting the value or the signal exists only at a particular zero interval, at the zeroth interval. That means at t is equal to 0, you will be getting the arbitrary value, and except that instant of the time period, you will be getting all the zero values at each location. any other value, any other location, you will be getting 0 value. So this is your impulse input. So when you apply such type of impulse input, which has been defined by delta t, to the input of the system of the first order, as shown in this figure, we will be getting a response of CS. Now let's see what the CS will be coming out. Now when I apply this CS, RS is equal to del S. In the Laplace domain, it is equal to 1. Therefore, your response at the output will be equal to K upon S into T plus 1. That means whatever is the input, you will be getting the response as equal to the gain of the system. Not the gain, but the open loop transfer function of the system. Now, if you rearrange this response, we can write it that CS is equal to K upon T upon S upon S plus 1 by T. Now, in order to represent the response of a time system in time domain, diffusion response is this is the response given in the S domain. And if you would like to write it down in the time domain, then we need to compute the inverse Laplace transform of the above equation. So the Laplace inverse has been applied, and we know that the Laplace inverse of A upon S plus VA is equal to A into e to the power minus at. So if we compare this equation with the response CS, we will be getting that CT in the time domain, the response in the time domain CT will be equal to K upon T e to the power minus T by T, where A is equal to K by T. Okay, this capital A is coming to be K, and small letter a is been given by 1 by T. So if I plot this for the various values of the gain and for the t is equal to 2s, 2 seconds, I will be getting the response of our decaying exponentially system. That means for k is equal to 3 and t is equal to 2 seconds, the response will be exponentially decaying in this field, which have been described in the plot. Next is when we change the standard input and we want the first order response to be evaluated on the unit step input. So when we apply the unit step input, which is nothing, let me explain to you. For an example, this is your domain, time domain, where at t is equal to 0, that is with your duty, and this is your time period, this time. So when this ut is your magnitude of the signal at a particular instant of time period, that means when for the t below less than 0, the input is 0, and for the t greater than equal to 0, the t is constant, the ut is constant. It is constant, it is like a step, you can see. That's why it is called as a step response. So if we have such type of values, then rs is equal to us equal to 1 by s. Therefore cs is equal to k upon s into t plus 1. Now in order to find out the inverse Laplace of the above equation, we need to break it into the partial fraction expansions. And in the partial fraction expansion, we know that there are, once it has been break down, it gives me into two components, that is a forced response and one is the natural response. So the output or the response Cs is equal to K upon S minus Kt upon Ts plus St plus 1. This first term is your forced response and your second term is called as a natural response. Now taking the Laplace inverse of the above equation, we will be getting that Ct is equal to K into ut minus e to the power minus t upon t. Where when we substitute the step response input in time domain is equal to 1 in the above equation, we will be getting this one. That is K minus e to the power minus t upon t, which can be written as 0.632K. What does it mean? Let me explain it to you. That means when I provide a step input, the response is coming at 63, it is equal to 0.632K. That means look at this plot. This is the plot of the response, step response or for the step input, in which you are getting the 63.63% over here. Okay, you are getting the 63% over here at a time constant value. At a time constant value. And the DC gain is K is nothing but steady state output upon 1. What is the steady state output in this case? This is the steady state output 10. And what is the input? Input is the 1. This is your unit step. So when you get it, your DC gain is coming to 10 upon 1. Is this clear? Now look at this graph. In this graph, you will be finding the various values of time constants at different time intervals. That means for a time constant of t is equal to 1 seconds, your response is being defined given by the blue color, dark blue color. Now in this navy blue color, you're getting the response at very faster rate. Now when I increase the time constant from 1 seconds to 3 seconds, the response rate is reduced somewhat. That means earlier you are achieving the steady state value at near about to be 4.5 seconds, but in the time t is equal to 3 seconds, you are getting the steady state value at around 12 seconds. That means from 4.5 seconds to 12 seconds, just by increasing the time constant by 2, there is a huge response delay. That means the system will be able to reach the steady state value after a duration of how much? 15 seconds. Whereas for a time constant of equivalent second, the system will be able to reach the steady state value at nearby around 4.5 seconds or 5 seconds. Now, if you further increase it from 3 seconds to 5 seconds to 7 seconds, you will find out that the system is getting more sluggish. Sluggish means they are getting the steady state output response at a very large interval of time. 7 seconds or more than that. Even at the 15 seconds, For t is equal to 7 seconds, the system is not even able to reach at the steady state condition. So you can understand if the time response, if the time constant is increased, your system becomes sluggish. So the response will be increased. Now look at this. It is the very giving the broad classification view of the various time constants with the error symbol. Now, as we increase the time constant from t to 2t to 3t to 5t, we are getting the time constant slope as of by this one. If we draw a tangent from this location, we are getting this slope. If we draw the tangent for 2t, we are getting this slope for 5t and so on for 5t and this. So in this case, you can see when we are taking the slope of 1 by t, the time constant of t, we are getting a response at 63.2 and the error is large. You can see the error is large. This is the remaining portion, the remaining point. How much is even remaining? It is remaining by around 0.37. That is when 37%, 37% is the error in this case. So I've told you in the starting itself that for a time better time constant, we always prefer to take it a 5t, because at a 5t we are getting the response at 99.3%, and the remaining of 0.7% is the error. So in this case, the error is very less. Then the question arises, then why we don't go for the more time constant as of 60, 70, and so on? The reason is that if we go with a further increase in the system with the time constants, the sluggishness of the system will increases, and also comparative to the sluggishness, the error is not reduced as that much comparative to the previous state. That means at a 60, we may be getting the response at around 99.4%, 99.2, or even 99.27. So the error is not been reduced as that much, the way the sluggishness has been increased. So that's why it is preferred with the various analyses and studies that the 5t time constant is far better and very much suitable for the all type of the systems, especially specifically for the first order systems in a step responses. Now the Ct is the given equal to 1 minus e to the power minus t upon t. This is the response and the plots. I hope you have understood this concept. So when I substitute the various values of gain and the time constant t is equal to 1, look at this. At a k is equal to 1, the gain is less, and since the gain is less, the value magnitude is also less. That is we are getting the response k is equal to gain over here. Okay, and in this case, you will be finding out at near about at 5 seconds in each of the case, in each of the gain, you are getting the steady state just in the 5 seconds. Now, what does it mean? It means that when you increase the gain, the magnitude will increase, but what will happen? But the response to reach to the steady state value, the time taken by the system to reach to steady state value will remain same, but it will vary only with the change in the time constant. For all these values of gain, we have kept the time constant is equal to 1 only,
That's why you are getting the same steady state time in the case. I hope you have understood this concept. Now, what is the relationship between the step and the impulse response? The step response of the first order system is CT is given by k into 1 minus e to the power minus t by t. It can be written as k into k minus e to the power minus t by t. Now, if we differentiate this response of first order, first step response, first order step response, then we will be getting the dct by dt, which is equal to differentiation, and we will getting k upon t e to the power minus t by t, which is what? Which is your just impulse response. That is, we can say the differentiation of the first order differentiation of the step response yields or results in the impulse response of the system. That means if we have the knowledge about the step response, we can easily calculate the impulse response of the system. Let's take an example. The first order impulse response is been given to you, that is Ct is equal to 3 e to the power minus 0.5 t. Now we have to find out the time constant, the DC gain, the transfer function, and the step response for the system. Now in this, the Laplace transform of the impulse response of the system is actually what? It is the transfer function of the system. That means if we identify the Laplace transform for the impulse response system, then it will yield or results into the transfer function of the system. Therefore, taking the Laplace transform of the impulse response, we can find out. Now, as the equation is given to you, that Ct is equal to 3 into e to the power minus 0.5 t. So, if I do the Laplace transform of this, I will be getting 3 upon s plus a. A is what? 0.5 into 1. Into 1, why I have taken the 1 over here? Because this is the impulse response in S domain. Okay, which is equal to this into delta S. Therefore, C by delta S will be equal to C by RS, which is equal to 3 upon S into plus 0.5. So if I multiply this complete equation by 2, I will be getting the 6 upon 2s plus 1. Therefore, the time constant is coming to be 2. And the transfer function is coming to be 6 upon 2s plus 1. What is the DC gain? The DC gain is coming to be 6. Okay, I think we have calculated everything. Now let's see, with this transfer function, if I apply the step response or the step input to the system, what will be the function value? Okay, so if we apply the step response, RS will be equal to what? 1 upon S. So it will be 6 upon 2S plus 1 in that case. Now, again with the same, if I increase the time constant T is equal to 2 and DC gain is equal to 6 and transfer function is equal to coming to this, the step response, and we have to draw the step response of your on your notebook also. So for the step response, we will integrate this CT first of all, because the differentiation of the step response is what? The impulse response. So if we have the knowledge about the impulse response, when we integrate it, we will be getting a step response. So the CT is coming after the integration is minus 6 into e to the power minus 0.5 to the C. We can find out the C by the initial conditions, and since in this case we do not have any kind of initial conditions, that's why we are taking it as equal to 0. So C is coming to be equal to 6 and Ct is equal to 6 minus 6 into e to the power minus 0.5 t.
This is your step response in time domain. So if the initial conditions are not known, then the partial fraction expansion is the best, which is been given. For an example, you have this response which have been calculated, the transfer function which have been calculated previously, and the RS is equal to the step input, which is equal to 1 upon S. Then in that case, when I substitute it, I will be getting CS is equal to 6 upon 2S into 2S plus 1. It is giving to the partial fraction by A upon S plus B upon 2S plus 1. And the A and B are values coming to be 6 and minus 6. So your CT will coming to be the same 6 minus 6 into the 1 minus 0.5, which is exactly similar as in the previous case. So how to do the partial fraction expansion in the MATLAB? If you want to expand the polynomial into the partial fractions, use the residue commands in the MATLAB. That choice to solve the problem, which is been given. For an example, you have this response which have been calculated, the transfer function which have been calculated previously, and the RS is equal to the step input, which is equal to 1 upon S. Then in that case, when I substitute it, I will be getting CS is equal to 6 upon 2S into 2S plus 1. It is giving to the partial fraction by A upon S plus B upon 2S plus 1. And the A and B are values coming to be 6 and minus 6. So your CT will coming to be the same 6 minus 6 into the 1 minus 0.5, which is exactly similar as in the previous case. So how to do the partial fraction expansion in the MATLAB? If you want to expand the polynomial into the partial fractions, use the residue commands in the MATLAB. That means if you are having the function ys is equal to y1, y2, and yn, and x is equal to x1, x2, and xn, then your RPK values will be equal to residue into y upon x. That means R is the numerator coefficient, P is the coefficient with the numerator part, okay, and K is your final constant, okay, it's your C part. So let's take an example. If you have this polynomial which is equal to minus 4s upon 8 upon s square plus 6s plus 8, and you use a MATLAB command, then you will be getting at R equal to minus 12 8, P is equal to minus 4 12, and K is equal to 0. So that means your equation, your partial fraction for this equation will be minus 12 upon s plus 4 plus 8 upon s plus 2. Now, if you want to expand the polynomial into partial fraction, use a residual command. Again, this is, we are having another session. Now let's take an example with this. When we have calculated the step response in the S domain, that is giving me this. So when I apply this residual command in this function, I will be getting minus 6 upon s plus minus 0.51 plus 6 by s. Now, after the implementation of and the analysis of step response and impulse response of the system for the first order, let's discuss about the ramp response for a first order system. So a ramp function is the one in which your function is increases consistently, like this. Okay, this is your RT. The ramp function has been defined by RT. Okay, and for it in time domain, or RS in the S domain, which is given equal to AS. Okay, A to S, or in the time domain we call it as AT. Sorry. Okay. So when I take the Laplace transform of this, the Laplace transform of t is 1 by s square. So therefore, your response for the ramp input will be k upon s square plus ts plus 1, and the rest response is given as ct equal to kt minus t plus t into e to the power minus t by t. So when I plot it for a k is equal to 1 and t is equal to 1, you can see the unit ramp and the ramp responses. The unit ramp is the one in which your ramp is taken as the k is value is with constant, it is equal to 1. And your ramp response, this was your input, this is your unit ramp, this was your input, and this ramp response was your response of the ramp input. So if you find out for k is equal to 1 and t is equal to time constant, we are taking it as 1, we will be getting that there is an error, this much is the error in the final values, in the steady state values. That means they are reaching to the steady state value at nearby to the 5 seconds, and the error in the signal is coming to be quite approximately equal to of 10 to 5 to 10%. Now, if you increase the time constant, I've told you with the increase in the time constant, you will be getting the system to be getting more sluggish. That means if the system is become more sluggish, you are getting the large error is increasing. If you keep the gain constant. So it is advised that for a ramp inputs, your time constant should be minimum. Now, in the parabolic response of the first order system. Now let's apply the parabolic response in which the function of a parabola is been considered as an input in the time domain. In the S domain, it has been defined as 1 by S cube. Therefore, we can write that the response will be equal to k upon S cube into st plus 1. Okay, I'm leaving it for you to do it, and we will see the results. Now, the practical demonstration of a transfer function of first order system. Often it is not possible or practical to obtain a system's transfer function analytically. Perhaps the system is closed and the component parts are not easily identifiable. So the system's step response can lead to a representation even though the inner construction is not known to us. So with the step input, we can measure the time constant and the steady state value from which the transfer function can be calculated. That means, for an example, if we can identify the T and K from the laboratory testing, we can obtain the transfer function of the system. That is the time constant and the gain of the system in the laboratories. Now look at this. For an example, we are looking for a unit step response in a given figure. So from the response, we can measure the time constant, that the time constant of an amplitude to reach 63% of its value is 0.13 seconds. Since the final value is about to be 0.72, the time constant is evaluated where the curve reaches the 0.45 or about 0.13 seconds. Now the k is very simply a steady state value which can be calculated as 0.72 when we substitute this k, this time constant and the k value, we will be easily calculating the transfer function of the system by 5.5 upon s plus 7.7. So when we take the common on this terminology, we can find it out. Now, till now we have seen that when we are having the first order system with none of the zeros. So when we introduce the zeros into the system, then what will happen? So the zero of a system lies at -1 by alpha in this given problem, in this given transfer function, and the pole is given at a -1 by t. So the step response of the system will be what? It will be equal to k plus k by t into alpha minus t into the 1 minus t by t. After in the time domain. In the time domain, by taking the inverse Laplace, we can identify it. Now the first order system with and without the zero comparison. Let's do the comparison. So the time responses have been given to in both the cases. Now if the t is greater than alpha, if the time constant is greater than alpha, then this term will become negative. And with this term, we can say if t is greater than alpha, this term will be getting quite approximately equal to the t, and which can be neglected, and we will be getting only this equal to the same to the added by the zeros. So it is equal to, let's say it's coming to minus n. So when we take the common, k equal to -1 upon n by t. So this term is coming to be what? Equivalent, almost equal to the first order response for the without the zeros. Therefore, when we plot it, there is an offset has been introduced into the system. So if the t is greater than alpha, the response of the system would look like this, as shown in the given graph figure. Let's take an example. If we are having the transfer function is equal to tan into 1 plus 2s upon 3s plus 1. Therefore, there is a 0 at the location of 0.5. Getting this thing. So therefore, when we plot this, there is an offset is to be coming, which can be calculated by this given formula, that is k plus k upon t into alpha minus t at t is equal to 0. When we substitute the t is equal to 0 in the previous equation, in the response equation of the zeros, we will be getting this offset value. And if the t is less than alpha, the response would look like this. It is an exponentially decaying system in which your response is coming to be tan plus del upon 1.5 into 2 minus 1 into 1 minus t by 1.5. Now let's do the comparison. This is for the t less than alpha, and in the base when the t is greater than alpha. So you can see the offset, they are creating almost kind of a mirror image with the approximately same amount of offset value. Now this is the graph defining or doing the comparison of unit step response for both the cases with and without zero. So you can see that without the zero, the response is starting from zero, instant, with the magnitude of 0. But with the introduction of the zeros into the system, there is an offset has been introduced, and this offset will clamp the plot from 0 to approximately 5.5 for t is equal to 0. At t is equal to 0. Similarly, if we reduce the t, the time constant less than alpha, that will change the picture completely. So this is the one which you have to do. Okay, till then, okay. I can directly solve it by looking to the diagram. You can also try. You can also get this technique once you do a lot of practice for this thing. Now let's see the another question.
Look at this question number 3. Look at this question number 3. In this question number 3, you can see the transfer function from ds to ys is what? You have to identify the ds to ys. That is, we are having one disturbance over here, we are having one input, and we are having one output. So we have to find out the relationship between the output and the disturbance. That ratio between the disturbance with the output. Here it is, it must be ys. Here it might be ys, something is missing over here, so consider it as ys. Output as cs is equal to ys. Okay, how to do this? Keeping this rs neglected. Okay. In the fourth question, the closed loop gain of the system is shown to you. The closed loop gain has to be found out. The closed loop gain has to be found out. That is the net equivalent gain of the transfer function, net equivalent transfer function. So find out the CS upon RS, you will get the closed loop gain. Now, next question is that the advantage of the block diagram representation is that it is possible to evaluate the contribution of each component to overall performance of the system. This statement is true or false. You have to find out whether this statement is true or false. That is, the advantage of the block diagram representation is that it is possible to evaluate the contribution of each component to overall performance of the system. Think about it and then reply it later. The overall transfer function, next question is that the overall transfer function from block diagram reduction for cascaded blocks is the sum of individual gains, product of individual gains, difference of individual gains, or division of individual gains. We will discuss the solutions later. The next question is that the overall transfer function of the two blocks in parallel are sum of the individual gains, product of the individual gains, difference of individual gains, division of individual gains. I have told you, when we are having the two blocks in parallel, what do? We do what? We do the summation of the individual gains or the difference of the individual gains. It depends. It depends whether the gains which are being with the positive polarities or the negative polarities. But in general, if no such polarity questions is been given or polarity thing is been defined in the question, then it is always to consider with the positive signs, positive polarities. So the answer of this solution will be the first one, A. In questions, it may be it is a misleading question, but the trick is that you have to assume the positive signs only. Don't use the negative signs. Now the eighth question is that the transfer function of the system is defined as the ratio of the Laplace output to the Laplace input considering the initial conditions. The transfer function is defined as the Laplace output to the Laplace input. That is the CS upon RS. What are the initial conditions? What are the initial conditions are there? You have to identify. Think about it. We'll discuss it later. Now the next question. Now look at this block diagram. You have been given that the gains for each of the block is given to you. That is G1, G2, H1 and H2 are given to you. The overall transfer function has to be identified. So you have to use the block diagram reduction technique in this. First of all, what you will do? You will solve this loop, smaller loop. I think there is one mistake in this question. This will be, arrow will be this way. Okay, this will be a feedback path. So the arrow will be this way. Consider it this way. Now look at this. You have to apply the block diagram reduction technique in this and identify the overall transfer functions. Now the last question is that the oscillations in the output response is due to what? The oscillations in the response, these oscillations in the response, that is the C of t with respect to the time period, these oscillations are due to what? The positive feedback, negative feedback, no feedback, none of them mentioned. Identify this, we will discuss it later in the next section, in the next class. Thank you everyone.